Hello everybody, this is the working prototype for my game Empire Builders, The Great Conquest. This is a choice-based role-playing game where players will take on a specific role and make decisions, and the decisions that they make over the course of the game will lead to certain consequences impacting them and the rest of their gameplay as they continue to move through the game. So the way that this starts off is the player will choose a civilization. Right here we have 6. I might add more. I might end up taking some out. Once the player picks the civilization they will be a part of, they will then pick their role within the civilization. Right now, for the purposes of this, we have 3: military commander, architect, and farmer. I will most likely add more to this in the later version of this game. So after the player picks the civilization and the role, ideally I'd like to have a way for the player to be able to keep track of what their role is and the impacts of the decisions they have made. That's something I'll have to work out a little bit later on, and that comes into play with the decisions that they make. So this will be the first thing that the player sees once they start the game after they pick their civilization and their role. Their civilization will start off in a stable state, some military personnel, a stable food supply, and plenty of housing for those living within their civilization. For the purpose of this, we'll act as if we are a farmer within our civilization. So the first question, one of many that could be posed, will be this. Military commander wants to invade the neighboring settlement. Will you provide food for the soldiers? So you can pick none, partial food supply, or a surplus of food for the soldiers. We'll pick surplus. So the outcome is that the invasion was a great success. There was plenty of food to sustain the troops with lots left over. The remaining food, however, went to waste. So as a result of this, new land was gained, but food was lost. And those two stats, if you want to call them, will impact later decisions. So next, the next thing that the player would be posed, or the decision they would need to make, would be this: to feed the civilization. So due to the last choice, food was lost. Now, at the beginning, there was a stable food supply. Losing the food from the last decision didn't bring it down as much, although later decisions may impact that. So you can decide to either feed everybody, feed specialized members, which would be the other roles that the player was able to choose from, the common folk only, so other people within the civilization, or to feed no one. In this case, just so you can see the different effects of what might happen for your decision, we'll go with specialized members only. So there would be a positive impact in favor of you from specialized members. But alternatively, or I should say in addition, there would be a negative impact against you from the common folk within your civilization. Again, this consequence will come up later on as more decisions are made throughout the game. Now, just one last decision tree that will end up being made would be to actually carry out your specific role. So since we're a farmer, the role would be tending to the land. Now, since we decided to give the military commander a surplus of food, we gained new land. So we wouldn't actually be answering this or choosing yes or no between this decision. We would actually doing it for this one. And when the game is actually created online, there will be avenues. So when a player picks a specific answer, they will be led to one decision based on that answer. So, for instance, we'll go with yes, farm tend to the new land. So the outcome of this would be you plant on new soil, crops have a larger yield. Now, let's just say we didn't give our military commander food. If we ended up going with none, for instance, the invasion would fail, there wasn't enough food to sustain the troops, and no new land was gained. So eventually, when you came back, or when you come to this decision, no new land, and let's say you decided, yes, you wanted to continue growing food, you would plant on used soil, so less fertile soil, as opposed to having new land, and the crops would have a smaller yield. So each decision that the player makes will progressively impact their role within the social space of the civilization and within the economic and potentially political space within their civilization. And this is going to grow, and I'm going to add upon this more and more as we progress further on within this course.